Okay, so have you ever felt like just completely overwhelmed,
Yeah.
you know, by your emotions? It's like you're stuck on this crazy roller coaster and you can't get off.
Totally. It's like 1 minute you're up and then bam, you're down.
Exactly. So today we're going to dive deep into how we can actually like rewire our brains.
Rewire.
Yeah, using Stoic practices
Interesting.
to basically create some smoother rides, emotionally speaking, you
Yeah.
know, more resilience.
I like that. Smoother rides. So less reactive, more in control.
Yeah. We're going to be looking at this blog post, Rewiring for Resilience, the Stoic practice that transforms your brain.
Catchy title. Who's it by?
It's by William R. Moore over on a website called The Heroic Stoic.
The Heroic Stoic. Okay, I'm already intrigued.
Me too. It's like ancient philosophy meets, modern neuroscience.
I like that mix.
Yeah, and what I find super cool about this post is it's not just theory. Like, it gives you actual things you can do.
Oh, so it's like practical stoicism.
Exactly. Actionable steps for building, like, real mental resilience. It all starts, though, with this idea of mindful awareness.
Right, mindfulness. That's everywhere these days. But how does just, noticing your thoughts and feelings make you more resilient?
Well, think about it this way. Imagine you're in, like, a super stressful situation. Your heart's racing, you know, palms are sweaty.
Been there.
So instead of just reacting, like from that place of stress, you pause.
You hit the pause button?
Yeah. You observe the anxiety, the anger, whatever it is, but you don't get like swept away by it.
So you create some space.
Exactly. And that space, that's where the magic happens.
Because then you can choose how to respond.
Exactly. It's not about suppressing emotions. It's about, choosing a more, I guess, reasoned response.
So you're not controlled by that initial, knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of, reflecting on your reactions, the post is big on journaling, but it's not just like Dear Diary stuff.
It's deeper than that.
Oh, yeah. It's like Stoic reflection.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means you're looking back on your day and asking, okay, where did I act in line with Stoic principles?
Like, where were you, the Stoic hero?
Right. And then, equally important, where did I maybe fall short?
I see. So identifying areas for improvement.
Exactly. And then, like, how can you apply those principles, even better tomorrow?
It's like a constant feedback loop.
It is super powerful for self-awareness and growth.
I can see that.
And then there's this idea of reframing negative thoughts, which I think is so important.
Reframing meaning like changing the way you look at things.
Yeah. Instead of, beating yourself up like, ugh, I'm terrible at this, you ask, okay, what can I learn from this?
That's a big shift in mindset.
It is. And Stoicism is all about focusing on what you can control, right? Like your actions, your attitude, not dwelling on the stuff you can't change.
Right, because that just leads to frustration or
Right.
spinning your wheels.
Exactly. It's about moving from feeling overwhelmed to feeling empowered.
Love that.
Okay, ready for a slightly intimidating term.
Hit me with it.
It's called premeditatio malorum.
Premeditatio. Okay, that sounds kind of scary.
I know, right? But it's not as bad as it sounds. It translates to like premeditation of evils.
Premeditation of evils.
But it's not about, being all doom and gloom. It's about mentally preparing yourself for setbacks.
Oh, I see. So like anticipating challenges.
Yeah. By visualizing them beforehand, you kind of take away their power.
Because you're ready for them.
Exactly. You're not surprised. So you can respond with, more resilience.
It's like a mental fire drill.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, ready for another one?
Lay it on me.
Voluntary discomfort.
Voluntary discomfort. Why would I, willingly choose to be uncomfortable?
I know, it sounds weird, right? But it's about intentionally putting yourself in, like, slightly uncomfortable situations.
On purpose.
Yeah, like, taking a cold shower.
I do not like cold showers.
Or, fasting for a bit. Or maybe tackling a task that pushes you outside your comfort zone.
So it's like training your mind to be tougher.
Exactly. You're building those mental calluses. So when real difficulties hit, you're less fazed by them.
I see. So how does doing all this Stoic stuff, actually rewire the brain? How does that work?
Well, the post talks about this super fascinating concept called myelination.
Myelination. Okay.
It comes from a book called The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle.
Interesting.
So basically, myelin is like this insulation for your nerve fibers.
Insulation.
Yeah. It helps signals travel faster and more efficiently in your brain.
Makes sense.
And get this, the more you use certain neural pathways, the more myelin you build up around them.
Oh, so it's like strengthening those connections.
Exactly. So by consistently practicing Stoicism, we're actually strengthening the pathways related to rational thinking.
Emotional regulation, resilience, all that good stuff.
Exactly. It's
Yep.
mind-blowing, right? You're literally shaping your brain.
That is pretty amazing. It's like you have the power to change your own brain.
You do. So, okay, let's talk about the benefits. Like, what are the real-world gains from this kind of brain training?
Well, the post highlights a few.
Lay 'em on me.
So first, there's emotional mastery.
Meaning,
It means you become less reactive to, all those external triggers. You're not as easily hijacked by your emotions.
so you're more in control.
Yeah, you respond with more intention, more clarity.
I like that.
What else? Second, sharper decision making.
Oh, that's huge.
It is, because you're less likely to make those impulsive choices, driven by fear or anger.
You're thinking more clearly.
Exactly, and you're more likely to make those sound decisions based on, logic and reason.
Makes sense. Okay, what's the third benefit?
Unshakable resilience. You bounce back from setbacks way easier.
Like you're not knocked down as easily.
Right. You actually see those setbacks as like opportunities for growth.
Instead of, the end of the world.
Exactly. And it's not about becoming like an emotionless robot.
It's about being in control of your emotional responses.
Exactly. It's like leveling up your emotional intelligence.
Love that.
And it's important to remember rewiring for resilience. This isn't like an overnight thing.
Takes work.
It does. It takes consistent, intentional practice.
It's about showing up every day, making those choices, to be mindful, to reflect, to reframe your thinking.
Each of those choices, even the small ones, they're all steps toward building that stronger, more resilient you.
That's so empowering.
Mhm.
Like we actually have the power to shape our minds and how we respond to life.
We absolutely do.
If you're enjoying this deep dive and you want to hear more like it, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. It really does help us out a ton.
Yeah, it does. We appreciate your support.
Okay, before we wrap up, any final thoughts for our listeners? Anything you want to leave them with?
Well, I'd say think about which of these Stoic practices, really resonated with you today.
Which one stood out?
Yeah, and then ask yourself, how can you experiment with that practice? How can you bring it into your daily life, even just in a small way?
Start small. Be consistent.
Exactly. Consistency is key.
I love it. It's amazing how these ancient practices, they're still so relevant today. You might be surprised by the results.
Me too.
Thanks for listening.